5-hour rule: how successful people learn faster. Success looks different for everyone, but when you study the habits of people who consistently outperform others, a surprising pattern appears. Despite busy schedules, constant meetings, and endless responsibilities, many of the world's most successful individuals deliberately set aside time to learn. Not occasionally, not when they feel like it, but every single week. This habit is known as the 5-hour rule, and it may be one of the most powerful, underrated ideas in personal growth. What is the 5-hour rule? The 5-hour rule is simple in theory. Spend 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, into deliberately learning. That's it. 5 hours a week dedicated purely to learning. Not scrolling, not multitasking, not passive entertainment, but focused improvement. Reading, thinking, practicing, experimenting. Over time, those 5 hours compound into a massive advantage. The idea became widely known through the habits of people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Oprah Winfrey, who are all known for prioritizing learning no matter how busy they become. Why learning beats working harder. Most people assume success comes from working longer hours, more hustle, less sleep, but there's a limit to how much effort your body and mind can sustain. Learning, on the other hand, multiplies effort instead of replacing it. When you learn, you make better decisions, you avoid repeating mistakes, you solve problems faster, you adapt when the world changes. In simple terms, learning helps you work smarter, not just harder. Bill Gates and the power of reading. Bill Gates is famous for his Think Weeks, where he isolates himself with stacks of books to learn and reflect. Even now, he reads around 150 books a year, not because he has free time, but because he creates time. Gates once said that reading is still his main way of learning new things and testing his understanding. While others chase short-term wins, he invests in long-term knowledge. That's the 5-hour rule in action. Warren Buffett, learning as a competitive advantage. Warren Buffett spends most of his day reading financial reports, books, newspapers. Early in his career, he reportedly spent 80% of his day reading. Even now, learning remains central to his routine. Buffett often explains that knowledge works like compound interest. The more you learn, the faster you learn the next thing. Over decades, that creates a gap that's nearly impossible to close. Oprah Winfrey and reflective learning. Oprah's learning habit isn't just about reading, it's about reflection. She journals, asks deep questions, and constantly evaluates experiences. For her, learning comes from thinking deeply about what happens, not just consuming information. This highlights an important truth. Learning isn't only about books or courses, it's also about making meaning from life. The 3 parts of the 5-hour rule. The 5-hour rule isn't random. It usually includes 3 core activities. Reading, this could be books, articles, research, or long-form content. Reading exposes you to ideas you might never encounter otherwise. It stretches your thinking and challenges your assumptions. 2. Reflection. Reflection turns information into understanding. This could mean journaling, thinking quietly, or reviewing what you learn. Without reflection, knowledge stays shallow. 3. Experimentation. This is where learning becomes real. You test ideas in the real world. You try, fail, adjust, and improve. Experimentation locks learning into memory and builds skill. Why most people don't do this? If the 5-hour rule is so powerful, why doesn't everyone follow it? The answer is simple. Learning doesn't feel urgent. Emails feel urgent. Deadlines feel urgent. Notifications feel urgent. Learning feels optional until suddenly it's too late. Many people confuse being busy with being productive, but activity without growth eventually leads to stagnation. The most successful people understand that learning is not a luxury, it's a requirement. The modern world makes learning easier and harder today. Learning has never been more accessible. Podcasts, audiobooks, online courses, summaries, tutorials, knowledge is everywhere. But distraction is everywhere too. The challenge isn't finding information, it's protecting focus. The 5-hour rule works because it treats learning like a meeting with yourself, non-negotiable, scheduled, and respected. Modern examples of the 5-hour rule in action. Elon Musk. Elon Musk taught himself rocket science by reading textbooks and talking to experts. He didn't wait for formal education. He learned aggressively, asking questions and applying knowledge immediately. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg sets personal learning challenges each year. such as learning Mandarin or studying new technologies. These goals force structured, consistent learning. Naval Ravikant. Naval emphasizes reading foundational knowledge, philosophy, science, economics, because timeless principles outlast trends. His approach reflects deep, long-term learning over surface-level information, learning faster than everyone else. The real power of the 5-hour rule is speed. People who learn consistently adapt faster to change. When industries shift, technologies evolve, or skills become outdated, learners don't panic, they pivot. In a fast-changing world, the ability to learn quickly is the ultimate skill. You don't need 5 hours at once. One common misconception is that learning requires large blocks of time. It doesn't. You can break the 5 hours into 30 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes during breaks, 20 minutes before bed. Small sessions repeated consistently beat rare bursts of motivation. Passive learning versus active learning. Scrolling through content feels like learning, but often isn't. Active learning requires intention. Asking questions, taking notes, applying ideas. Instead of asking, "What did I consume today?" ask, "What did I understand today?" That shift alone changes everything. Learning is a long-term strategy. The results of the 5-hour rule aren't always immediate. You may not feel smarter tomorrow or richer next week, but over months and years, the gap becomes obvious. Opportunities appear more often. Problems feel smaller. Confidence grows. Not from ego, but from competence. The hidden benefit, confidence through competence. Many people chase confidence directly, but real confidence comes from knowing you can figure things out. Learning builds that trust in yourself. When you know you can learn anything, fear loses its power. How the 5-hour rule changes your identity. Over time, learning stops being something you do and becomes part of who you are. You become the person who is always improving. That identity attracts opportunities, conversations, and people that reinforce growth. Success then becomes less about luck and more about preparation. The cost of not learning. Choosing not to learn also compounds, but in the opposite direction. Skills decay. Knowledge becomes outdated. Comfort turns into vulnerability. In a world that never stops changing, standing still is moving backward. The simple truth. The 5-hour rule isn't about becoming a genius overnight. It's about respecting the power of consistency. 1 hour a day may seem small, but multiplied by weeks, months, and years, it reshapes your future. The most successful people aren't smarter than everyone else. They just never stop learning, and that is the real secret. Conclusion. The 5-hour rule isn't a productivity hack, a trend, or a motivational slogan. It's a quiet advantage that compounds in the background while the rest of the world stays busy reacting. 1 hour a day doesn't sound dramatic, but over a year, that's 260 hours of focused growth. Over a decade, it can completely change who you are and what you're capable of. The people who rise to the top aren't always the most talented or the most fortunate. They're the ones who keep upgrading themselves while others stay stuck in the same mental patterns. They read when others scroll. They reflect when others rush. They experiment when others repeat the same mistakes. In a world where information is everywhere, the true edge belongs to those who deliberately slow down to learn deeply. Skills can be learned. Industries can be understood. Opportunities can be created, but only if you commit to learning before you need it. The 5-hour rule is simple, but it's not easy. It requires discipline, patience, and respect for long-term thinking. Yet if there's one habit that consistently separates those who grow from those who plateau, this is it. You don't need more time. You need a better relationship with learning, because the future doesn't belong to the busiest people. It belongs to the fastest learners.